Hello, everyone. Welcome. Today, I'm going to show you exactly what I do as a senior product designer at H&M Group, and I've been getting a lot of questions about that. So I thought the best way to show you is to show exactly the activities I did during one specific week. And of course, no week is really the same. It, it's really changed based on where we are in the product, which phase of the product we're in. But this is definitely the most concrete way to explain what I do. So what I've done here is I've put down my different tasks for a week, and if you see here, it's color coded. So the pink is when I'm performing focus work. So I'm doing actual work. I'm usually alone doing something. And of course, I can be messaging someone in order to answer questions and stuff like that. But usually I'm alone. If it's gray, that means it's a meeting. So yeah, I'm in a some kind of video call, or yeah, I think for all of this it was video call because I was working remotely except for Tuesday. And the white, those are all breaks, so either lunch or I was taking like a coffee break. And if it's blue, I forgot to write down what I was doing. So that's pretty much what that looked like. And let's see, I'm trying to remove. Oh, okay, let's go. Let's start with Monday. So I usually start my day around 8:30 or 8:45, and I like to start by prepping the day. So deciding what tasks I want to accomplish during this day. I usually have a list of tasks I want to accomplish in this week, and then I choose the ones I want to do this particular day. And then I also, during the prepping of the day, I go through the list of meetings I'm going to have and then see if I need to prep anything. So, for example, think about, okay, what outcome do I want? What questions do I have? Stuff like that. And then at 9 a.m., we have a daily stand up. So it's our team spending 15 minutes explaining what we did the day before, what we're going to do today, if we have any blockers. Simple, basic agile stuff. Here I forgot what I was doing. And then at 10, usually I schedule these 30-minute blocks to just do a lot of messaging. So, messaging in Teams or sending emails. I usually have two blocks, one before lunch and one after. I did not have it on this particular day, but I like to do this because I don't want to be checking my messages all the time. So I try to consolidate it into two blocks so I don't switch. Switch my context so that I try to just focus on the task at hand. It's difficult, but I try. And then I did something here. And then I had a meeting just to sync with the product design intern I have, talking about, okay, what are her next tasks, what should she be doing in the upcoming week. And then I had a break, and which because I've been working and you need a break before lunch, but then that went into lunch. After lunch, I spent some time deleting a lot of the information we had from doing tests. So we've been running moderated usability tests. And in order to comply with GDPR, you have to delete the recordings, the emails, any data that could be linked back to someone. And then I had a meeting, or actually, I had 3 cross team syncs during this day. We usually have them, I think it's every other week on Mondays. So the first one is with returns, because my product spans over the entire customer journey. So we have to check with the teams if they are on schedule and if they need any support. So this, for example, was with the teams that handles returns. And then we have one with the teams that handle or owns the part from start page until add to bag. And then this one is from shopping bag to the confirmation page. And I'm usually there in order to show what, like the prototype, what does the MVP look like, and to answer any kind of design question, and if there are any new insights from the testing we have. After that, I worked with the copy, so the copy for the MVP, because I've been working with a UX writer to make sure that the text, the information is easy to understand. So I was just updating the copy and the design because I had met with him the previous week. And then I took my well-deserved break here. Usually I would go, this is where I go and check social media, maybe update my Instagram, and see if I got any, personal messages. Otherwise, I might just be watching some YouTube. That's what happens during a break. And then I had these cross team syncs that I mentioned. And then I was prepping for a workshop that I would have the next day. And after all that, first day is over, first day of the week. And depends. I want to. I try not to schedule anything here, and then if I have stuff I want to complete, then I would just complete it until 5, and then I just end work. I try, because you need to not overwork. So that's Monday. And then let's go into Tuesday. And as I mentioned, this is the day I went into the office. So I forgot to write down what I was doing. But let's see what we have. On Tuesdays, we usually have longer daily stand ups. And what we do there is we have more time for asking questions about what we're doing, because we do have kind of 3 streams we're working with. So one is the tech stream, making sure that everything on the tech side is there in order to enable our MVP. And then we have the exploration track. So seeing after the MVP, what are we going to do, or what's the ideal state? What do we want to work towards? And then we also have the A/B testing stream in order to do more tests and get more data so we can make more decisions. And I'm part of all those 3. I'd say it depends on where we are at the moment. Right now, I'm more in the exploration phase, but definitely I have to make sure that the design is there for the MVP. And then also I do the design for the A/B test. So that's so basically we have those streams, and then we ask each other, okay, how does that work? Can you tell me more about that, basically? So we do that for 45 minutes. And then I had that cross area design workshop that I mentioned before. However, there was low attendance, which was unfortunate, because I think it's super important. Most other product designers work in one part of the entire customer journey, so it's quite focused. My product is for the entire customer journey, so that makes it quite difficult to make sure things are consistent, because a lot of people are working on it, and it's new also, so it's not as mature as the other parts. So I've been really trying to get things more aligned, but unfortunately the attendance was low, so I decided to cut it short. It was first 1 hour, then we just did it for 30 minutes. It was mostly an intro into the project, but I will see how I can do this in another way in the future, so that I do get that alignment. And then I did something here, then had a break, something, and then lunch. And I don't remember what I did here, but I was working, I promise. And then I actually, because I was in the office, I had a break. I was talking to the lead designer for payments, the payments area, the product designer for digital returns, and the area UI designer for checkout. So we were just taking a nice coffee break talking about the different things that are happening. The lead designer, he's not, yeah, he recently became a lead designer. He was a designer for product designer for payments. So talking about that, and then also the things that were what's going on in checkout. So that is day 2, the Tuesday. Uh, and let's see what happened on Wednesday, hump day. So, yeah, a lot of focus work actually. So, as I mentioned, I did the prepping, I was messaging people, and then I was prepping for the workshop I had here. So, when I prep for workshops, basically I lay out the structure of the workshop, and then I I guess I just fill it in and then think about, okay, what order are we going to do this, and then how do we want to do the voting? Do they need more input material and things like that? And then I had a break, and then I had a meeting with the PO and data analyst to see if we should be consolidating some hypotheses or remove some. So I've been trying to make sure we work methodically with hypotheses, because we're going from 0 to 1 with our product, meaning that what we're creating doesn't really exist at the moment. And that means that we have a lot of assumptions. And in order to not be going in with too much risk, we want to make it very transparent what are the assumptions we have, so that we can more methodically test them and figure out, okay, what is true and what is not. So that those are the hypotheses we are talking about in this meeting. And basically, it is a challenge because we haven't worked that much with it, so we're still figuring out, okay, what's the best way forward. So that was that meeting. And then I had the meeting with the UX writer I mentioned before, basically listening to his reasoning just so I could understand more, and then deciding what are the next steps. Because what he had done was he went over the entire journey, and now we were just talking about, okay, then we need help with this part. So, for example, I said that we needed help in um, making it easy to understand from the receipt email how to make a return. And then also talking about, okay, there might be some new designs because we need to define this design soon. And then I had lunch, and then we had that hypotheses workshop I was talking about. This one also wasn't exactly what I had planned, because I think we realized that we also have these circular business model ambition work. So, meaning, what do we want to achieve by 2030 with circular business models, which is, I'm in the circular business model incubation area. So, we're the ones creating these products to test these business models so that we can see if is this a good way to get another kind of revenue, so that we can switch out from the linear business model. But yes, basically, we felt that, okay, we need to have a stronger link between these hypotheses and the ambitions, so that it's easier to understand what are we actually doing, so that we have kind of this clear direction. Because right now it felt that it was a bit over the place. So it wasn't exactly the workshop I planned, but it was good that we got forward. We went forward and was started to think about, okay, what should we actually be focusing on? What should we do to make this easier to work with? And then I did something here. Don't remember, unfortunately. Did the messaging, and then I also what I did then was to go through Abstract, which is the design versioning system that we use together with Sketch. I think with if you use Figma, you won't have this problem, but basically using Abstract allows us to create branches so that we can work with one file at the same time without having versioning problems, because you branch out and then you work on it, and then someone else can branch out from the original master, and then you can merge it with the master file, and then the other person can merge it, but by uh, pulling the changes so that it doesn't get confused. You don't have to remember this, but I went through abstract to see is there more design that's related to my product, just so I can pull those and then add it to my file so that anyone could get an overview of what our MVP is like. And then I had a meeting with the lead designer, or I don't think that's exactly the title, but yeah, design lead for circular business models, talking about what would make a what does it mean to have a great MVP launch, because we're going to have our MVP launch, and I had trouble prioritizing between these more exploratory tasks and then the MVP tasks, and just me understanding, okay, what do we want to get from the launch? So is it that we want to have a great user experience from the start, or is it more focused on learning as much as possible? Just knowing that helps me to understand what I should be focusing on. So we had a meeting about that, and then I messaged again. There was a lot of messages, a lot of coordination. So if you didn't know, because I'm working with the entire journey, there's a lot of teams I have to communicate with. I mean, already here with returns. Okay, so I think that's maybe one team for me. But start page to add to bag. That's navigation, content discovery, product visualization, product story, shopping bag. Oh, that's the next one. But those are four teams I have to communicate with, and then we have shopping bag to confirmation page. So that's shopping bag, web checkout, app checkout team, and then it's like some customer engagement teams. I don't quite remember what their names are, like post purchase communication, things like that. So that's a lot of teams. So that is why I have these messaging blocks. So yeah. So that was hump day, Wednesday. Got a lot of things done. And then let's see, Thursday, packed. So as usual, I did the prepping. Oh, also, by the way, on Wednesday, we don't have stand-ups because we felt that it was actually enough to have it on 4 days. 3 days. I'm going to explain later on Friday. Anyway, so I was prepping the day and then had the day stand-up. And I was preparing for a digital return test. So as I mentioned, I've been working on the return. I think that was my focus for this week, or something I wanted to get done. So we have a service called User Zoom, which allows for unmoderated usability tests. So basically, you set up a test and then you send it out, and then after some time, you will get video clips of people performing that test. So you would, for example, ask them to, can you talk about what you expect to happen if you click this? And then can you talk out loud as you try to complete this task? So, for example, add this piece of clothing and then complete the purchase. So I was preparing the design in order to make the prototype that will be used for that. So I did that here, and I did messaging. Took a bit longer break because it was a bit exhausting. And then I met with my product owner to walk through the blueprint we have. So it's kind of a map that shows the customer journey, the touch points, pain points for us, and for us as a company and for the customer. So it just gives you a good overview. So I went through that with the PO because he's actually not that new now, but he started right around summer. So just had to walk through that. And then I met with two service designers about a potential initiative with a group who are, I think the purpose for that group was to understand more about, okay, what does it take to improve your consumption? So be more sustainable. So that was just a meeting about that. And then lunch. And then I set up the test and launched it. Super exciting. A lot. It's very, you get addicted to checking the results because you finally get feedback and you never know what you're going to get. So that's always fun. And then we had a lean coffee, us in the circular business model incubation area. Um, I think this is the third one we had because I've been in the circular business model area since December, and I was the only product designer. And then I had my intern join, and then there was one product designer that joined a new team maybe 2 months ago, and then we had another product designer join another team like a few weeks after that. So that's super fun. And since they joined, we start to have lean coffees, which basically is a structured way to have a conversation. Everyone writes post-it notes about what they want to talk about, and then you vote on the ones you want to talk about. So you have a prioritized list of talking topics. This particular session was super great. We actually scheduled 45 minutes, but we went over and talked for 1 hour. And it could be anything like what have you, what's something you want to try out? Do you have these pain points? What do you think about this? Should we be looking at this? Should we start to do this? So it's super fun, just bouncing off each other. Then I had a break. And then I had a meeting with the PO for another team in the circular business model area talking about hypozooming. So she had sent me a video from, I think, like Stanford, talking about how to test, how to test hypotheses. And hypozooming basically was, okay, what's a test you can do here and now to start to learn more about your hypotheses. So that was super interesting. So I showed her our hypotheses and we talked about, okay, what could we do now instead of having to wait for our MVP to launch. And the last thing I did that day was to just arrange some design for the navigation because we were starting to have discussions with them about what it's going to look like. So I just wanted to prepare some design so that it was up to date. We had an overview and we could have that to look at in the future. So that was the Thursday. A lot of stuff happening. And then last day, Friday, let's check. So on Fridays, instead of having a regular stand up, we have a social stand up. And what that means is that instead of talking about our tasks, we answer a personal question. I think for this particular social stand up, we answer the question about what your worst holiday experience was. And I realized that I haven't had that bad experiences, but we have this social stand up because our team was created during the pandemic. So we haven't met that much. I think I've only met 3 people in my team of 8 in person. So this was just a great way to get to know each other because if you work remote, you're basically just going to meet each other in these work meetings. So you're not going to meet each other by the coffee machine and talk about your personal life. So that's been a great addition. After that, I worked on something I called the incubation playbook. So basically, it was creating a Confluence page. If you don't know what Confluence is, it's kind of a Wikipedia for your company. So I was creating some pages about, okay, what are some activities you can do if you want to go, if you want to create a new product. So going from 0 to 1, what are some good workshops to run to start defining things and to align with your team about stuff. So, for example, one thing is about how do you create hypotheses, how do you create personas, how do you decide which type of people to interview first in order to create your persona, things like that. And then after that, we had the innovation and incubation weekly. So I'm in the I'm in my team, which is part of the circular business model area, and that area is part of the innovation and incubation function, which has some other parts. Mainly, so we're the incubation part, and then there's also an innovation part. But in this meeting, it's well, a few things could happen. One thing could be that there's some inspirational talk or someone else from the company talking to share knowledge, or there are updates about the company or changes in our function. So that is that. And then we had a break, did something here, and then lunch. And then I made some updates to the copy based on something that the UX writer had sent to me. I think specifically he updated the text in the receipt email. And then I updated a Medium article that I've been working on together with another product designer at H&M Group, because H&M Group has a design blog, and I wanted to contribute to it by explaining, what is it like to be a product designer at H&M Group? Basically, a bit like this, but the format we had for the article was basically me interviewing this other designer called Pedro about, okay, what's his background and what does he do at H&M, what has he learned, things like that. And basically what I was updating was because I had asked some of my followers on Instagram to give me feedback on the draft we have written. So what do you think is missing? What do you want to know more about? And then I had a break, and then just 2 more weekends until the weekend. Oh no, sorry, 2 more meetings until the weekend. Had a meeting with together with my PO, so product owner. I don't know if I explained that in the in the video, but product owner, and then the navigation product owner, talking about, okay, what can we do for the MVP? What test can we do in order to learn what would be a good customer experience? And something that I do like to do in the meetings is to make things more concrete. So they were talking, and then I was building or capturing what they were saying in the meeting. So I was making a prototype on the fly so that we could get one picture of what what's in our heads. So that's another thing I do as a product designer, just putting things together, making the thoughts concrete. And then finally, the last meeting was the demo of Makers Collective, which is the innovation part of our function. Their mission is to test a bunch of ideas before 2030. So that is basically my entire week. I hope you learned something, or that it's a lot clearer what I do at H&M Group. If you want to learn more, like for example, what my team looks like and how it has changed over the time at H&M, then I will link that video here. If you want to know more in general, what do teams at H&M Group look like, where product designers are part, I will link it somewhere here. But thank you for joining. And if you stayed until, what is this, minute 29, thank you so much. And let me know what you think, if I should do more of these, because as I mentioned, not every week, or no week is the same. It's like it's like a snowflake. It's all different. So should I make more of these? Let me know. Give it a thumbs up and let me know in the comments. Bye bye.